Hi guys, and welcome back to my Evilness podcast or to my Evilness channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Disclaimer, I mean absolutely no harm to anyone who may be mentioned. It is all information that I have compiled via news articles, the internet, etc. and put together to tell you about today's case, which today we will be talking about the true crime case of Hagerman. So Amber Hagerman was the case that created the Amber Alert, pretty much. In 1996, in Arlington, Texas, Amber was a 9-year-old girl. She had a 5-year-old brother named Ricky. Her parents were Donna Norris and Richard Hagerman. Amber was an honor student and a Girl Scout who loved to ride her bike. On the 13th of January of 1996, Amber and Ricky got the bus home from school, and being an unusually warm January afternoon, the children were determined to go and play outside. So they asked their mum if they could go out and ride their bikes, which they often did, and their mum said yes, as long as they stayed close to home. The siblings headed to an abandoned parking lot. Many of the neighbourhood kids rode their bike there. There was a little bike rampy thing there, but this parking lot was not close to home. It was actually closer to their grandparents' house. The siblings rode their bikes for a while before Ricky began to get nervous when it started to get dark. The sun was still up, but Ricky knew being quite away from home, they would get into trouble if they were caught. Ricky told Amber he wanted to go back, but Amber said she was going to stay for a little while longer. Ricky decided to return home alone. Within an hour of Ricky leaving, Amber was gone. It was immediately known that Amber had been abducted because there was a witness. It was still daylight when 78-year-old Jimmy Kevill was in his backyard gardening. He lived near the parking lot where the children often played, when he heard a high-pitched scream. So he went to his front yard to investigate, and that is when he saw a black or dark truck pull up. A man got out and pulled a little girl off her bike. This girl screamed and was kicking at the man, but she could not get away. The man shoved her into the cab of his truck before speeding off. This all happened so quickly, Jimmy didn't have a chance to do anything. He did immediately call the police, though. Police arrived on the scene really fast. They were already there when Amber's grandfather, Jimmy Whitson, arrived. You see, when Ricky had gone home without Amber, and staying where she was, Donna called her father and asked him to go and find Amber and bring her home. Jimmy searched the general area before coming to the parking lot, which was swarming with police. Over 50 officers were looking for Amber, but they didn't have a very detailed description. Jimmy Kevill had said that it was probably a medium-built man who was white or possibly Hispanic. That was all he knew aside from what he said about the black or dark truck. Witnesses came forward saying a truck matching the description of the one involved in the abduction had been seen sitting outside of a laundromat earlier that day, but no one saw who was driving. When police tried to find other witnesses from this popular laundromat, they couldn't find them. Creep It Real podcast had an interesting theory that maybe these people were illegally in the country and perhaps they were afraid of being deported, even after a reward was offered with a promise that they would not be deported if they came forward with information. Still, nobody came forward with any viable information. Police, along with Amber's parents, were searching fruitlessly for Amber without finding much. So Richard, Amber's dad, made contact with the parents of a girl who went missing 3 years earlier, Polly Class. He contacted the Class family as they had done a great job getting information out about their daughter. On the 17th of January, 4 days later, at the Forest Hill Apartments, a man was out walking his dog when he came across a body in a creek. The creek was only a few kilometres from where Amber was taken. The body was naked, aside from a single sock, and had a deep cut along the throat, almost to the point of decapitation. The body was quickly identified as Amber because of her school ID, where the children had their fingerprints taken. An autopsy found that Amber had been beaten and sexually assaulted. It also showed that Amber had been kept alive for around 2 days after being abducted before she was killed. Investigators also believed that Amber's body had not been dumped in the creek, but that it possibly washed up there after a storm. Police were receiving a lot of tips with a lot of leads, but nothing was moving forward in Amber's case. Police did think the person responsible was someone who lived in the area, as the perpetrator would have had to have kept her somewhere for the 2 days before he killed her. They came to this conclusion based upon where her body was found. Although Amber's case remains unsolved, however, it did change the way that America handles missing children investigations. Donna Norris, Richard Hagerman, Eve Nickel and Mark Klaas, who were Polly Klaas's parents, worked together to create the People Against Sex Offenders petition, which ultimately led to the Sex Offenders Registry being created. But that wasn't all. A mother named Diane Simone had heard about Amber's case, called a radio station with an idea she had after thinking about Amber's case. Her idea was that radio stations should broadcast about abducted children as it was happening. People thought this was a great idea, and before the year was out, the Amber Alert system was started in Amber's honour. But it also stands for America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response. The Amber Alert is a text message which makes a loud beeping sound as you get it and gives a description of a possible car or the abductor or the victim and what to look for to try and catch them before they can escape. To spread the message further, quicker. The Amber Alert can also be a radio broadcast, a cable show, a news broadcast, or even an email. In the United States, the Amber Alert is for children under the age of 18 with a confirmed abduction at the risk of death, and will include any known information of the abductor. When Diane spoke of her idea, she said she had thought of it as it wasn't that people didn't see them, it's that they didn't know what they were seeing. In 2019, a mural was created in Amber's honour. It's of her face, her name, a flower, a butterfly, and it's done where she went missing from. So that is the case for today. As I did mention earlier, if you missed it, unfortunately, sadly, this case does remain unsolved. A like and subscribe would make you pretty amazing. I hope you have a great day. I will get another one done really soon. Bye.